quite a regimented person, that if you have a goal, you'll like look at the steps that are needed to get there and action each step along the way until the goal is achieved.
Absolutely, yeah. That's exactly what I'm like. I'm a bit chaotic. So I would call myself chaotically organized. I'm a bit of a free spirit, bit of a creative thinker. So I can get a little bit like sidetracked at times, but there's always a goal that I'm working towards.
Right.
But I have people around me now whose job it is to help me stay on one path. But generally, yeah, I'm very goal oriented. I would be quite good when I'm regimented. In general, I try to just keep working towards the one thing. I'm never not working on the one path towards something. Sometimes it might look a little bit like I'm everywhere, but I'm actually, chaotically organized, like I said.
The reason I ask is because I've looked over the timeline of everything that's brought you from there to now. And the thing that stands out to you, it's actually something when I had Kim Murray on and we were talking, and Kim is like this super high achiever, but I don't think she sees it because she's doing it. You know what I mean? So she's only think, well, I sat in my bed and ate a Domino's and watched a movie last night. So obviously I could be grinding harder. But like, I look at it like this, like so as you mentioned, you lost your way a little bit, but you set your sights on a goal and you went from 130 kilos all the way down to 85 kilos. Yeah. You opened your own business, which to me is huge because most people are just happy enough showing up, getting their pay at the end of the month, not worrying about their taxes or anything like that. But you opened your own pet shop.
Yeah, just right up in a pet shop. Yeah.
So how did we get from being a guy that went cut down to 85 kilos, chicken at Red Hot Chili Peppers, to I'm going to open my own business? What happened there?
So, all right. So I'd lost the weight. At the time, we were just coming we were in the midst of the recession.
Yes.
Right. So as I'm working through it, there isn't a whole pile of working out. Like I failed my leaving cert. I had tried some stuff at college, had some like personal anxiety issues. I started getting like social anxiety going in there, dropped out twice from third level education. And I was like, I need a job. The only jobs that were really around at this time were things like buying and selling gold. So that's what I ended up doing. I ended up buying and selling gold, like cash for gold. I ended up having that job for a while. And that was while I was dropping all this weight. So I was traveling a lot with that up and down the country every day. And when I had dropped all this weight, I'm like, I'm going to go back to college on a part-time basis. I found my thing now.
Good, yeah.
So I qualify as a PT. I spent 2 years doing that. And at the end of that, I had started taking some clients here and there in this small little office room. But I still needed a job. An opportunity came up along the way. This cash for gold thing was now starting to disappear, starting to bomb out. Excuse me. So as that's happening, I'm taking a couple of clients here and there, but then I get an opportunity with a little bit of backstory. So my ex and we were together for like 15 years, but at one point she had to leave her job. She had a back problem. She had to leave her office job, and decided that she wanted to start selling pet products because of this. We had this little West Highland Terrier. My aunt sent over this product from Australia, which was an Addy dog hoodie, this little grey hoodie for dogs. Right. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's not like these usual like really gammy, cringy things that you put on dogs, like these dresses for dogs. It was like a cool hoodie. I was like, Addy dog, class. So that was kind of the inspiration behind it, where she was like, well, I'm not working, I want to do market stalls. So I was like, I'll help. Yeah. So we started buying in products from China, and we met a supplier that was based out of, I think it was either Kildare or Dublin, somewhere up here. This particular supplier ended up coming back to us a couple months later, and we're like, we're actually after acquiring this pet store in Limerick. We're not based down here. We need someone to run it. Are you interested? And I was like, I'll do it. Sure. I'll come in, I'll manage it. We have our own products, and we supply some products to you that we've bought from you in the past and that we have from China. Like, yeah, great. So that's how I ended up managing that store. And then while being the manager of that store, I ended up opening Studio One Fitness. I actually got into business with my mother. I really don't recommend anybody gets into business with their family. This is a story for another podcast, but ended up getting into business with my mother on that. And my mother is like super into fitness. She's working machine store at the moment. She's pursuing a bodybuilding career at the moment on the side. So that's kind of her ambition. So I very much get my drive from her. But we ended up going into that venture, decided part ways. I was more or less the front of the business and running it. So it wasn't working out. The dynamic wasn't working for multiple reasons. We don't work with family. Yeah. So I ended up looking after it entirely, and I was completely swamped with my commitment to that. I loved it. Like, loved it. I was like, this is the thing I want to do. I'm running spin classes like 4 or 5 times a day. I'm taking like, it was a ladies only strength classes, and I'm loving life at this point doing it. But the other guys that I'm running this business for are like, you know, you're starting to bring other people into, we kind of want you there. And I'm like, well, I've kind of committed, like I love this business as well. I don't really want to give it up. So I was like, what if I just buy it? So I just went to the bank, took out a loan, they agreed to sell it to me. I bought it for the cost of the stock that was on the shelves. And it was an okay deal for a while. So that's how I ended up with the pet store. Yeah, I just ended up managing it for a bit while I was kind of starting to get this gym up and going. And then I ended up buying it out because I didn't want to give it up. I don't have it anymore. I decided to close it during COVID and parted ways with that.
So you've since doubled down then.
Oh yeah, when COVID happened, obviously all the gyms across the country had to close. Our lease was up anyway, so the timing was working out quite well. And I wanted to grow the business further, but I wanted to get further and further into strength training and powerlifting. I'd stopped taking the spin classes at this point. Like honestly, for a small business, trying to repair spin bikes is fucking expensive.
Yes.
These things, like we had the Star Trek spinners, the Spinner NXT bikes. For anyone familiar with spin will know what those are. If you're not, they're like a commercial end spin bike. But when they break, there's only a handful of people know how to fix them, and sometimes the parts don't come in on time. For every bike I was down money. Not only the money trying to fix the bike or replace it, I was down money on a bum on a seat. Yes.
Do you know, actually, just while you're there, I remember following Studio One back when it was Studio One.
Yeah.
And there's like, I can't remember if it's on your page or it was on that page, but I've like this very distinct memory of you on a spin bike.
Yeah.
I'm like, look at this big motherfucker up on this bike, you know, because I taught spin for 6 years in FlyFit. Yeah. So like I could like, you know, sympathize with what you were going through.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but I was like, look at this fucking big strong motherfucker sitting on this bike. I was like, and we'd all complain about it in FlyFit, like, you know.